In politics, it is said that a divided house is a defeated house. Good evening and welcome to National Talk on ECWA Television International. My name is Joyce Jakada. Tonight on the program, we shall be beaming our light on the post-election crisis, considering the PDP saga, as well as the DSS uncovering interim government plot by some political actors. Stay with us. I have Honorable Zaka M. Akos in the studio. Good evening and welcome to National Talk.
Good evening.
Feels good to have you. Despite your busy schedule, you created time to be with us. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
To our viewers out there, we're live on Facebook and YouTube at ECWA Television International. You can do well to join the conversation by dropping your comments on the topic of discussion. Elections have come and gone. Some people will tell you aggrieved parties are currently in court, waiting for the judiciary to make judgment. But before we go into the discussion, I just want to get your post-mortem analysis of the election.
Well, 2023 general election is one of actually the best in the history of this country. And this is because of what the current administration and political party have put Nigerians into. Nigerians have actually suffered within the past 8 years. And Nigerians are yearning for a change. So a lot of people came out to vote. And secondly, there was that euphoria because of the introduction of these beavers and the rest. People believed their vote was going to count. And that is why a lot of people came out to vote. So I will consider this election as one of the best in terms of voter turnout, most especially the national election. However, the results seems not to be what people expected. So you could see that from the jubilation or lack of jubilation. And you could see that affecting also the state elections. Generally, people are somewhat discouraged and they felt, no, we will not go out, since the promise they gave us was not kept to. And so you can see the influx of cases at the state level and even at the national level. So generally, we can say the election has come and gone. But talking about the tribunals, I'm not sure that it's all over yet, because we are seeing a new face of prosecution in the electoral system in Nigeria. For instance, I'll give an example with the Labour Party's case. Just this week, we could see a fresh introduction of a case against over 170,000 polling unit presiding officers. Everyone is expected to come and present his own result, whether it will tally with what is in the IRF of INEC, and then whether that is what he has signed. And so this is a new face, and it's expected that we will see new faces of the election processes this 2023.
All right, still talking about issues in court, litigations, petitions, and all of that. What do you think should be the way forward for Nigerians? Because, of course, at the end of the day, the court is going to make a ruling on all of these cases. But what do you think is the way forward for Nigerians going forward?
Actually, they often say that the court is supposed to be the last stop of the common man. And so, judiciary must live up to the expectation. Once the judiciary is up to its expectation, giving justice where it is due, Nigerians will believe, even if the elections are being rigged by the empire, people will believe in the tribunals. They will believe in the court of appeal. But where you are seeing obvious cases, and it is like the judiciary is compromised, people begin to lose hope. And where you lose hope on electoral process and coming to judiciary, you don't have belief, you don't have confidence, people will resort into alternative measures of getting justice. And that may be unfortunate, because if people begin to take laws into their hands, it will be difficult to control them. And this is why we are seeing people beginning to do a lot of protests, even though they call it peaceful protest. If it persists, it can develop into other things.
Well, let's talk about the post-election crisis, because what we are seeing right now in the PDP, it has obviously taken a new turn. Because when you talk about the PDP crisis, the saga that has been going on in the PDP, it's something that can be traced back to the issue of zoning, and even from the primaries that took place, where some aggrieved governors that formed the G5 governors and called themselves the integrity group said no, the party constitution must be followed, and because it wasn't, we saw how that even some of them worked against the presidential candidate of the PDP, even at the national level. That is why we saw that in some of these strongholds of the PDP, we saw how that the press, they lost it, like the southeast and then the south. In fact, even in Rivers State, PDP lost in that particular state. So all this saga, all this crisis have taken a new turn following the suspension of the national chairman, talking about ECWA. The court actually in Benue State, High Court in Benue State, gave an order urging him to stop parading himself as the chairman. And the party on Tuesday had an emergency meeting talking about the fact that, well, because we are in a country that is governed by the constitution, and the constitution in its provision said every order in the court must be followed, so they are also obeying the court order by asking ECWA to step aside and allowing the deputy national chairman, talking about Ilya Damagum, to emerge as the acting national chairman. And for some people, they will tell you this is like medicine after political death. But I would like us to just quickly watch some of the clips that played out during the suspension of the national chairman, ECWA.
After a careful consideration of the court order, and in line with Section 45, subsection 2 of the Constitution of the PDP as amended in 2017, the end is resolved that the Deputy National Chairman North, His Excellency Ambassador Umar Ilya Damagum, assumes the national chairmanship of our party in acting capacity, with effect from today, Tuesday, 28 March 2023.
I will be here with you in an acting capacity pending the determination of what is to come soonest from the courts. I want to use this opportunity to enjoin you to give me all the cooperation as we've always had with you. I will have a meeting immediately after this session with the NWC. I think we have scheduled a meeting with the NWC to check on what is happening within the party.
You see how we have prepared them now? I don't know that you are suffering it now. I said nobody can suspend you, but today he has packed up from the office. We have an acting chairman there. I told him, you will go. Whether you like it or not, you will go. Those lawyers telling you that the world has no power to suspend you is only neck. Then you don't understand. When you came, it was the world that suspended secondary, is it not? And you went and took office, is it not? It is now that you know that's only neck. Let me tell you, since they have not told you, the court has struck off that section of our constitution to say that neck only. So you don't know what. And PDP did not even appeal the judgment. So forget your own is God. You must be wasting your time. We are ready to battle. We are ready for the battle. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not from Benue, but I have interest. That interest at IU must go. And I'm going to carry it in May 29 when I leave office. If somebody say you will sleep, will you allow him to sleep? Will you allow him to sleep? A man lost his unit. A man lost his ward. A man lost his local government. A man lost his state. He's coming to preside over we who won our unit, won our ward, won our local government, won our state. Something they want for a head.
Well, that's Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State, and you know that he has been one of the lead governors of the G5 team, and they kept emphasizing that the zoning must be followed. If the presidential candidate is from the north, the chairman must not be from the same zone, and they've maintained that to the point of even asking their people to vote against the candidate because they support the south presidency. And going by all the gale of suspension in the PDP, before the suspension of the national chairman, we saw how the National Working Committee led by the chairman suspended former governor of Ekiti State, talking about Ayodele Fayose, as well as Pius Ayim, one-time Senate president. And now, just like Wiki and others will say that it is more like the law of physics playing out now. For every action, there's equal reaction. What do you make of the gale of suspension in the PDP?
Starting from your last statement, whenever there is an action, there will be a reaction. That is why when you start a game, you should be careful how you play it, because the person that you are acting against can actually react. And when he reacts, it can be bad. It's just like saying, I'm just insulting you. And you decide to slap me. I actually didn't expect you to slap me. Maybe I was thinking you're going to insult me back. That is the problem with PDP. I think PDP have enjoyed rulership in this country and has even been called the largest political party in Africa. It is still the largest political party, as far as I'm concerned, in Nigeria. Because even the ruling party is not as strong and rooted as PDP. But they are losing grip simply because some few individuals believe because they are in the hem of affairs, they can cause problems. They can do what they feel like doing. They can just bulldoze their ways the way they want it. And that is all. Actually, talking about the suspension of the national chairman, if you are a PDP member, and you are a bona fide PDP member that follows the constitution of PDP, that follows the antecedents of PDP, you should know that since from inception, PDP had never had any chairman that has finished his tenure fully. Never from inception. From Babalar up till today. Each time there's an issue, the party suspends its national chairman. So it's not starting with Ayu. Ayu should have known that. Just like we just saw in the report. Secondus even tried. He was almost rounding up his tenure. They only took away some few months, maybe 2 or 3 months from Secondus. But naturally, in PDP, once you are given the leadership of PDP, you should know that you have to be careful. And actually, it started with Ayu. As far as I am concerned, Ayu is the architect of his problems. He started by selling the rights of Nigerians through PDP. He is the chairman of PDP. He is supposed to have insisted on what the constitution of the party says, that there should be zoning. Because what you are talking about is the balance of power. Whether it is PDP that is in governance or not, the truth is that we are having a president that's coming from the northern part of this country for 8 years. You should be balanced. Give these southerners a sense of belonging and allow them to take the shot at this presidency. But they went and set the committee and influenced the committee not to zone the presidency. And they left it open. Some of us kept saying that was a major error. It was a major, it's wrong. But they insisted on it and went ahead to have it their own way. At the end of the day, the emergence of Atiku, we all know, came up with a lot of problems. A lot of problems. And this issue of zoning kept reoccurring. And they said there has been meetings upon meetings on where this presidency should be zoned to. And APC took that advantage and zoned theirs to the south. And that is what gave the PDP G5 the impetus, the strength, the courage to insist that power should shift. Whether you call it shifting to APC's candidate or to the Labour Party's candidate, because, for instance, the governor of Benue, he said he is supporting Obi. While Wike, at the tail end, it looks like he was doing the APC candidate. So at the end of the day, PDP was at a loss because both they are strong people. Because a governor in Nigerian politics is a very, very strong force.
Sure.
So if you are losing 5 governors, it's a very serious thing. They took it for granted. Some of us were insisted that, why wouldn't you? At a point, let me tell you, even if PDP had removed Ayu, those people wouldn't have gone back. But they would have carried the cross. Because when they were saying, remove him, remove him, remove him, if you had agreed to remove him, they would not have any justification to continue fighting the party. Because they said, that is the only thing we want. However, the party constitution says that where a chairman is suspended or removed from office, the person that takes over from him is the deputy national chairman that comes from the same zone. And that's why you are seeing the deputy national chairman North taking over. So they would have done that and then do whatever they need to do within the shortest possible time and balance it. Take it to the South. It is something that politicians can do within 24 hours. Nobody can tell you that we cannot organize a national convention within 24 hours. We can do it. We can do it, call it, because we have a target. Go into hit on the nail and then get what you want. There was a time PDP in this country went for a convention. But because the person that was presiding was having question about his legitimacy, they suspended the national convention at that moment and went on a recess and came back and suspended him and put a caretaker committee chairman and continued the convention just to avoid litigations. So if they can do that, that is all. So I will say PDP or IU has done it for himself. And let me tell you, the constitution of the party gave the ward the power to be the custodian of the register. That is the membership register. And since the ward has the register, the ward gives the membership card. And therefore, the ward is the one that is keeping your register in the party. So the ward can suspend you. It's as simple as that. And it's the same thing that happened with secondus. Sure. And the same thing is repeating itself with. But you see, the issue is that the national chairman at the national level was thinking about the national outlook of the party, forgetting that he has where he is coming from. He's coming from Benue. His party, his local government, his ward are all in Benue State. And he was busy fighting with the governor, who is the superman in the state. So you can see that the governor can influence what has happened. But whether he influences it or not, it is legal and it's binding.
No wonder a lot of people say political calculation is really key.
That is
because
right.
he was, I think Iyorchia Ayu was quoting Article 57, subsection 7, where he said it is only the neck that has the power. And just like you said, forgetting that the secondus also, it was the same process that pulled him out. But let's talk about public perception right now, because PDP, as the major opposition party, more like Nigerians are looking up to them to keep the governing party on top of their toes to ensure that they do the needful. But in a situation where you're saying that the major opposition party, like the party that's supposed to be opposition, like having all these issues among themselves, even though we've seen how that this afternoon, early today, they talked about the fact that all the members of the NEC that were suspended, they actually brought them back, the likes of Ayodele Fayoshi and Ayim Pius, and then as well as others from other zone, about 5 of them, and then even the Benue State governor, who was recommended to the disciplinary committee by Iyorchia Ayu, it was also called back, and all that was tackled. And according to the spokesperson of the PDP, this is just to ensure unity in the party and to see how together they can come and build back their house and ensure that the house actually stands. But I'm talking about public perception, because there's also, Nigeria is a democratic country, and also there's we practice multi-party system. So there's this fear of one-party system. If the major opposition party, even though people are talking about Nigeria having a third force right now, which is the Labour Party, but if the major opposition party are failing in its own responsibility, there's that fear. But do you see PDP solving its problem? Because some political critics will say that they are not sure PDP will bounce back, because as it is, because of some of this crisis, which they would tell you has actually affected their winning in the 2023 general election. We saw how that he lost some seats in at the National Assembly, and even in some states. So do you think PDP will still bounce back and still live up to its responsibility?
PDP can bounce back if they do the right thing. Just like you are saying, they have taken the right decision. Maybe you may call it late. Because if they had avoided those crises, we wouldn't have been where we are today. But they have decided to stay on their high horses. We will not do this. It has to be like this. And that's why they found themselves there. Remember that the governor of Benue, for instance, went to court to ask that the court should put an injunction on the National Party not to suspend him when he wanted to declare his support for Obi. That will amount to anti-party activities. How can you be in a party and be supporting somebody else? So he was about doing that. He rushed the court first to ask the court to stop them from suspending him, because he is anticipating that the party would definitely suspend him. So he was doing it smartly. And they gave him that injunction because they were already suspecting they were going to do something against him. And he went ahead and declared his support for another party's candidate. Now, after the whole of this political election has taken place, now you are taking this decision. Well, maybe to some of us may think it's late. However, it can help the party to regain its footing. Probably from the acting chairman, who will be having a new chairman of the party. If IU is unable to come back, then we'll be having a new chairman. And if we're having a new chairman that will come with a human feeling, with a political mind, that wants to carry everybody along, that wants to say it's not the winner takes it all, definitely PDP will bounce back. For instance, look at our immediate environment. Whether you know or not, PDP is still the strongest party on the plateau, despite the fact that for the past 8 years, it's been ruled by APC. But in the last election, you can see almost all the senators, because the central zone has not announced theirs, but the two is PDP. And they are already having 5 House of Rep members out of 8. So you can say PDP is strongest.
Even I think even at the
and the House of Assembly, they have 16 members. The PDP have 16 members. So it is still strong. The only thing it needs to do is to put the house together.
There's also issue of petition, because I know the APC gubernatorial candidate is talking about he will go to court and reclaim his mandate even on the plateau. So, and then there's also the case of PDP has court cases and all of that. So at the end of the day, they might not stand.
Yeah, well, since you've mentioned that, the truth is that everybody has the right to go to court. So the APC candidate has the right to go to court. But when you are going to court, you need to know what you are going to look for in the court. He wants his mandate because he believes that he is supposed to be governor. So he has grounds to which he is going to present his case. There are provisions in the electoral law that has limited or restricted grounds to which you can take petition to the tribunal. So he has to look at that and see how his complaints will come into place. For instance, if there is overvoting anywhere, he has to prove it and then show it. That's why we're talking about the IRF. That's why we're talking about the beavers. That's why we're talking about comparing those things together. And then if there are issues of disqualification, maybe he believes that the person that won is disqualified in any manner. Maybe he is using any age that is not to what he has taken affidavit to, he has sworn an oath to, or he's using a fake certificate, he's not a lawyer, or he has not graduated, or whatever, disqualification. Or he's talking about violence or whatever somewhere else. So there are conditions to which he can go to the tribunal. However, on the issue of PDP having various cases, most of the cases, or almost all the cases that we're talking about, are what they call pre-election matters. They are cases that are supposed to be done away with before election. And so virtually all the cases that are in court or that were in court against PDP or intra-party issues have been settled.
Well, I think for the general interest of democracy as well as the multi-party system that Nigeria is practicing, PDP as a house need to come together, unite, and ensure that they do the needful. This is time, I think, for me, where they should sit down, do some post-mortem analysis of the elections, where they got it wrong and how they can actually fix their house, because Nigerians are actually looking up to them. And if they fail, we've seen parties that are already extinct that produced even candidates that won different seats in Nigeria before, both at national level and state. But today, the parties are not existing because of some of these issues. And I just hope that for the general interest of democracy, that PDP will do the needful. Like I said earlier, in politics, a house that is divided is a house defeated, and that house cannot stand. I would like us to quickly talk about the DSS report. Just on Wednesday, there was a report by the DSS uncovering plots by some political actors to bring about interim government. There are a lot of reactions to this uncovery or discovery. But before you make your point, I would like us to go on a quick break. When we return, the conversation continues. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. And in case you're just joining us, it is National Talk on ECWA Television International. Alongside Honorable Zaka, we've been discussing the post-election crisis in the PDP, and the conversation continues. Our phone lines are now open for you to call and make your contribution. Do know that we are live on Facebook as well as YouTube at ECWA Television International. You can do well to drop your comment. So before we went on the break, I was talking about the DSS confirming plots by some political actors, so that will bring about interim government. And of course, we're practicing democracy. There's nowhere in the Constitution that says that, that gives way for interim government. Some people will tell you that, yes, going by the Constitution, Section 1, subsection 2, it says that the affairs of the nation is going to be governed strictly by the Constitution. And if you want to talk about interim government, it is only the president that has the right to do that. And that's when there is breakdown of law in the country. But right now, to some extent, we are not seeing that in place, even though, yes, elections have been conducted. People are aggrieved. We've seen the APC protesting. Well, PDP protested, Labour Party, some supporters actually went on the street, and even APC, some people that call themselves natives of Abuja, went out to protest, saying that this election is free and fair. Tinubu is the mandate of the people, and they are more like going out to say that protesting, peaceful protest and all of that. But the DSS are saying that there's plots, and we have uncovered it. We have names of some politicians that are planning to cause protests, which will resort to crisis, and at the end of the day lead to state of emergency and then interim government and all of that. But people have reacted to it, saying that, oh, why would the DSS just come out to just Okay, good evening, welcome to National Talk. Please make your contribution.
I want to say something pertaining to this election.
Go ahead, please.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Well,
Hello? Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Hello? Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Hello? Are you hearing me? Yes. Okay, this 2023 election. Yes, I want to say something pertinent because the presidential election, all the House of Assembly from different states and House of Reps, they are majority. How managed they will give this Tinubu presidential election? So I want to advise that all the states that they have a majority of the PDP, they have to sit down and advise the judgment because the matter is in the court now, so that they will advise them to give the person that wins the election for the PDP, that is Atiku Abubakar. So that's my own advice.
But don't you think the Labour Party too will also say the mandate is theirs? Thank you for calling. Well, before you respond to that, I just want you to still react
about the DSS.
Yeah. So,
well,
what do you make of that?
Well, the DSS is supposed to be one of the best security outfit in the nation because it's about gathering intelligence. It's supposed to be working directly what you call presidency security. They have unhindered access to informations and so on and so forth. So whenever the DSS presents a report, it's supposed to be an authentic report. It's supposed to be a solid report. It's supposed to be a report that the National Security Advisor is supposed to work on. Now, you may ask, who are the political actors? What do you mean by political actors? If you say DSS, say some political actors, who are they? You borrowing the words of Babachir, the former SGF, who say, who is the presidency? Now, who are the political actors? If you know them, have they invited them? Secondly, other analysts will tell you that why are they saying this to the public? Instead of working on it quietly and say, we know what you are doing, invite this one, and say, we know what you are doing. You want to throw this country into confusion? What do you want to achieve by this? And like you said, the president is the one that has sole responsibility to do that. Is the presidency also part of the political actors?
And that is why
he's quiet?
Should be sent.
So why is the presidency quiet? Because they're supposed to react to this and say, what is happening? Who is the person saying this? And honestly speaking, whether we like it or not, there are still agitations on the issue of who wins the presidential election. And let me tell you, I belong to some groups also that I see mobilization going on the impending strikes, protests that is about to take place all over the country. So the DSS might be right in saying that. However, are they supposed to throw that to the public? Or they're supposed to work on it?
Considering the fact that the atmosphere is already
tensed. Now, some will say the DSS is just acting a script of the presidency, saying already there was a report. And that is why the presidency is preparing towards that. So the DSS is supposed to have worked on that report, invited people that are trying to push the country into this confusion, planning this. So who has the power to do it, actually? If it is some political actors, would they just do it as their imaginary intentions?
They said they will use the judiciary, the media, as well as they were warning the media, the civil society organizations, as well as the judiciary, because these people will come up with cases that will lead to all of that.
And the protests.
Yes.
Now, are you trying to also say that we should not talk?
Well,
there is freedom of association. There's freedom of speech. There's freedom of press.
Even the protest is constitutional, peaceful protest.
Exactly. So you shouldn't cow the nation into a state where it is like we're in a dictatorship kind of rulership. So the people should have the freedom to talk. They should even have freedom to protest.
No wonder the Labour Party said that they are not intimidated by that report, even though they are not stopping the DSS from doing their work.
So I also hope that they are not trying to say, police, take decision and ban all protests, ban and censor what they will be said on the television. Like they will tell you, don't allow these people come and say this or don't say that. And if we allow ourselves go into that, then we are losing democracy in Nigeria. So they must allow people have freedom of what they want to do, as long as the freedom will not infringe on another person's right. If it is not going to infringe on another person's right, then they should allow it. Now, for instance, if they say it is because some people have decided to take, according to the electoral law of 2022, they have decided to take the presiding officers of all the polling units in Nigeria to court, which is a new face, and they're thinking that is another thing to bring about tension. They should just do the right thing. I believe all of this will fade away if the government, the state actors, the security agencies, and the judiciary, including the media, will do the right thing. All of these things will douse the tension, and people will jubilate.
Are you concerned about the silence of the president amidst this revelation?
Very well. I have been amongst the people that will always say the president has always allowed Nigerians to force him to talk. In the developed world, you see a president talking on a small issue.
I think we have a caller. Sorry to cut you. Hello, good evening.
You said?
Good evening. Please make your contribution. You're live. Well, would like to plead with you, when you call us, kindly turn down the volume of your TV or move away from it so that we can hear ourselves and save time. You can go on. Yeah.
So like the other caller said, he's talking about having majority. For now, the APC have the highest number of legislators, both in the red chambers and the green chambers. And PDP is following suit. That is why I told you initially, I said PDP is not actually losing completely grip. It's still the most strongest opposition for now. Now, if that is the scenario, well, let's allow the tribunal continue. And as it continues, maybe we'll be seeing some changes here and there. And some will lose their seats, even after being declared by the INEC. And we'll see the balance that will take place in the National Assembly.
All right. Well, ahead of the 10th National Assembly inauguration, we've seen how that some people are already showing interest in becoming in the number 3 seats of the country, talking about Senate President, as well as even the Speaker. And then considering the fact that the President-elect, talking about Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the APC, is from the Southwest, Lagos, and then the Vice Presidential candidate, Shatima, from Northeast, Borno, and then people are already raising questions about zoning and balancing of power. And some people say, can we be fair to the Southeast? And we've seen how that even Senator Uzo Ojikalu have gone to meet with the president, saying, Emilokan, like it's also my own turn, like that. So I just want you to talk about this development. When you check the seats now at the Senate, it's 109 seats, even though as we speak right now 102 have been confirmed. And then APC had 55. PDP 33, right. Labour Party 8, NNPP 2, SDP 2, ABGA 1, YPP 1. And when you go to the reps, you have 360 seats, but so far 326 have been confirmed, with APC having 160, PDP 105, Labour Party 34, NNPP 18, ABGA 4, SDP 2, ADC 2, YPP 2. And so going by the Senate House, APC is having the highest, and when it comes to the reps, APC also have the highest. So now the position of the
I think that the discussion is that Nigeria wants other people to Nigerian people to fear, to not even do about their, to not go about their right thing to do again. That's why they want to make us to fear.
Thank you very much. I think it's yes, I got that point.
Hello?
Thank you so much. I got your point. I think his point is actually clear, talking about the DSS uncovering that plot. And he said he just wants to make Nigerians scared. Why throw Nigerians to confusion? Because so that Nigerians will not go out and protest. It's constitutional as long as it is peaceful. So going back to the issue of zoning now, the National Assembly zoning, some people say, in all fairness, can you consider the interest of the Southeast? And then when you go to the people that have shown interest so far, we've seen Orji Uzokalu, Jibrin Barrow from Kano State, and then Sani Musa Niger, Godswill Akpabio, Akwa Ibom, Dave Umahi from Eboyin, Osita Izunaso, Imo State, Ahmed Lawan, the sitting Senate President, is also showing interest. And then when you go to the position of the Speaker, Benjamin Kalu from Abia showing interest as well, Tajuddin Abbas, Alihu Bafara, and then Yusuf Gagdi, Plateau State, 42-year-old, also showing interest. So what do you make of the issue of zoning and balancing of power?
Why do you have to mention his age? You think he's so young? Bankole was one of the youngest. Even Buhari, you remember the Buhari gate? 99, the first speaker that was removed, was very young. So Gagdi is not even as young as those ones. So he should be contesting for it. You see, from what you have read, that is the beauty of democracy. Now, despite the fact that the president is coming from a zone, somebody is still interested in saying, I am also interested. Now, if you look at from 1999 to now, all that PDP have done, including even the APC, you discover that there is a seeming balance. When the president comes from the north, the vice comes from the south, then number 3, who is the Senate president, goes back to where the president is coming from. Check it. It has been like that. Then the speaker will go back to where the vice is coming from. That is talking about the north and south. But they won't come from the same geopolitical zone. For instance, well, it is okay if Lawal is wanting to become Senate president again. However, Nigerians should, we cannot afford to say the president, the vice president, and the Senate president are coming from almost the same state. Borno and Yobe, it used to be Borno State. So it is out of place. Actually, in natural justice, it's out of place. However, it is his right to also say he's interested. Remember, there are rules of the House, both the Senate and the House of Assembly, and the House of Reps. And the rules also will give condition on who is qualified to be. Of course, one of the rules will tell you that you should be a ranking senator or a ranking House of Assembly. But the other name you mentioned that is contesting to become Senate president is not a ranking senator. Rather, he is an immediate part. He's still a governor. So he will be an immediate past governor. However, it is left for the party now, the political party, to know how to balance this. Once they've balanced the distribution, then they will wound the interest of the other political parties to join them in voting. Because the House have the absolute right to decide who becomes her speaker or president. So you will, as a political party, have to balance it. For instance, if you say the president is coming from the southwest, which is okay, that is if Tinubu was sworn in as the president, if PDP and Labour did not take over from him. Now, if he's coming from southwest, the vice is from northeast. Automatically, those two geopolitical zones have been knocked out. The Senate president should go back to the south, not the north again. And it should go to southeast or south-south. So Orji Uzokalo have the right to say he is interested. However, it is not only the northeast now in the legislative arm that should be contesting for Senate president. And that's why you see some people from the south-south. So they have equal right to also take a shot. Some people will say in APC, the person that have paid his dues is David Omahi. Because he's loyal to the party, he's committed to the party, but he is also a first timer.
In fact, someone made the point that, well, the North Central have been good with that position, so can it still go back?
Go back to the... So it's their right to contest. However, coming to the Speaker of the House of Reps, Now, if the Senate president goes to the south, you should know that the speaker automatically will come to the north. Not the northeast now, but either north central, northwest. Before now, let me tell you, it was Adodogwa that was at the forefront from Kano. But because of what has happened, you know, he was arrested because of the killings and so on. Now he is out of the game because of what has happened. Now, that is northwest. And you have mentioned Jibril from Kano. Kano used to always wax their muscles because of their number in the House of Reps. However, now they don't have that number completely in one party because 18 members of House of Reps in Kano are now NNPP. So the majority, except if Kwankwaso and his people will say, give your support to APC. If not, they can move that support to a minority party or to a choice candidate, even if APC doesn't want, so that they can increase the lot of that person. And that's to say also, if he is not able to put his Kano people together, he cannot be seen as a force. So that is why you see people from the North Central also contesting. Because if it's coming to the North Central and Northwest, then we should. But you see, politics is beyond that. There are some governors that are also interested in becoming SGF from the Northwest. So you cannot give them speaker and give them SGF. So those governors will be pushing it away from Northwest, push it to North Central so that I become SGF. That is how politics is played, for balance.
Somebody said there's that obviously, even though people are saying, oh, since the president-elect is from the south west, the vice president-elect from the northeast, it means the Senate, deputy Senate, the speaker, deputy speaker's position is going to be zoned for balancing. But
yes,
from what is playing out right now, it's obvious that there's going to be a lot of politicking.
Yeah, of course.
There's going to be interest and
that is the joy of the game called politics. Everybody has his right, but like they will always say in the legislative arm, the minority will have their own say, but it's the majority that will have their own way.
Well, at the end of it all, we look forward to a 10th National Assembly that is going to represent the people, that is going to look at the general interest of democracy, that will stand for the people, not a National Assembly that will be yes, sir, National Assembly, because that is the fear most Nigerians are expressing, because if people are already going to the president saying, can you consider me, and we're seeing majority are from the APC, and it means that if other parties don't come together to of course, at the end of the day, APC will be taking some of this position. And if you have APC as the governing party, at the end of the day, we might likely have a yes, kind of 10.
But you must remember during Saraki, the APC endorsed a different candidate, this Lawa. But Saraki outsmarted them and went and canvassed his support from the PDP. And they were majority at that time.
Sure.
When the APC senators were meeting somewhere, they met him the Senate president. So if the president is being wooed to take a decision, he will also have to consider what is fair. Or else if he does a wrong choice, the House will still go against his interest. Remember that he's going. They are not going to be working with him. So it is not absolute that they will listen to him. They may decide to do what they think is right.
Well, the case is even still in the courts. At the end of the day, we wait for the judiciary to uphold justice.
No, I'm talking about Buhari.
Yes.
Buhari is going. So the House of Reps and Senate might not even listen to him. So going to ask him to support you might not automatically give you what you want.
That's true. That's true. At the end of it all, well, we have a country to build. Your final word, our time is actually fast spent.
Well, I want to say that so far so good for us on the plateau particularly. The election has come and gone, and the governor-elect is somebody that has shown a lot of courage, a lot of interest, a lot of enthusiasm with the fear of God. Is somebody that we believe should be able to come and put plateau on the right perspective. And because of that, we'll be able to hopefully say plateau has bounced back again. Because if plateau is not doing well, even if Nigeria is doing well, plateau is our Nigeria. So we'll start it here. And I pray that both INEC, judiciary, the government in power will allow the will of the people come to bear at the presidential election. If not, I want to assure you, many people will not come out to vote again if this mandate is stolen away and the thief succeeds and go away with it. So I am hopeful that the judiciary will give Nigerians what they want.
Thank you so much for creating time to speak with us. Great analysis. Really appreciate you. And to our viewers out there, thank you for staying with us on today's edition of National Talk. Remember that it is our collective responsibility to build Nigeria, and we can only do that on justice and integrity. And so all eyes are on the judiciary to uphold the mandate of the people, to do the needful. Go out there and be kind to one another. Until we come your way next week, you have a blessed night.